What if a daughter's desperate plea for help was actually a perfectly crafted lie? Could a person, seemingly a victim, orchestrate a horrifying event against their own family? Let's delve into a case where the line between victim and villain became shockingly blurred. November 8, 2010, the peaceful suburban town of Markham, Ontario, is shattered by a frantic 911 call. On the line is 24-year-old Jennifer Pan. Hysterical, she reports that armed intruders have broken into her family home. She claims they have harmed her parents and that she is tied to a banister, unable to help. To the operator, it sounds like a home invasion gone terribly wrong. A young woman, trapped and terrified, witnessing an unspeakable act. When police arrive, the scene appears to confirm her story. Her mother, Bikha Pan, had already passed away from her injuries. Her father, Huey Han Pan, was severely wounded but still alive, rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Jennifer herself was found, just as she described, seemingly bound to the staircase railing. She presented as the sole traumatized witness to a brutal and random attack. The community was gripped with fear. If this could happen to the Pans, a quiet and hardworking family, it could happen to anyone. Jennifer was taken in for questioning, not as a suspect, but as the key witness who could help police catch the perpetrators. She gave a detailed account of the evening. 3 men, she said, entered the house demanding money. She described how they terrorized her parents before tying her up and leading them away. Her story was emotional, convincing, and filled with the kind of detail you'd expect from someone who had just lived through a nightmare. The investigators listened intently, offering comfort and support. Their goal was to get a clear picture of the assailants to bring them to justice. For the initial hours, Jennifer's story held up. She was the grieving daughter, the lucky survivor. But seasoned detectives know that truth isn't just in the words spoken. It's in the small details, the inconsistencies that don't quite add up. And as they reviewed Jennifer's account again and again, tiny cracks began to appear in her perfect victim narrative. One detective, in particular, couldn't shake a feeling that something was off. It was a gut instinct, a sense that the puzzle pieces weren't fitting together correctly. The first major inconsistency was Jennifer's demeanor. While she was emotional during her initial report, in subsequent interviews, her reactions seemed almost rehearsed. Detectives noticed she could turn her emotions on and off, a trait that can sometimes be a red flag. But this was subjective. They needed something concrete, something undeniable, and they found it in the most unexpected place, the 911 call itself. Let's go back to that frantic call. Jennifer claimed she was tied with her hands bound behind her back. Yet she managed to pull her cell phone from her waistband and dial 911. How is that possible? A detective decided to test this. He tried to replicate the action himself, placing a phone in his pocket and attempting to retrieve and use it with his hands tied behind him. It was incredibly difficult, if not impossible. This single detail, this physical impossibility, shifted the entire focus of the investigation. Jennifer Pan was no longer just a witness. She was now a person of interest. With suspicion mounting, investigators decided to bring Jennifer in for another, more formal interview. This time, they would employ a classic interrogation technique. The detective leading the interview, an experienced officer named Bill Getz, would pretend to be her ally. He told her he believed her story, but that he knew she was hiding something, perhaps out of fear. He suggested that maybe she knew one of the intruders, or that she had information she was afraid to share. He created a safe space for her to confess a smaller detail, hoping it would lead to a larger truth. For hours, Jennifer stuck to her original story. She repeated the same sequence of events, insisting she was a victim. But the detective was patient. He kept gently probing, chipping away at her defenses. He told her they had evidence that her story didn't make sense. He mentioned they were tracking cell phone signals, and had access to data she might not be aware of. He wasn't lying. The police were indeed building a digital picture of her life. And what a picture it was. Far from being the perfect daughter, Jennifer was living a double life filled with astonishing deception. For years, she had been faking her academic success. She pretended to attend university, even forging report cards and creating fake graduation documents to appease her parents, who had extremely high expectations. She spent her days not in a lecture hall, but with her secret boyfriend, Daniel Wong, a person her parents strongly disapproved of. Her life was an intricate web of lies, designed to maintain the illusion of a dutiful, successful daughter, while she lived a completely different reality. Back in the interrogation room, the pressure was intensifying. The detective made a bold move. He looked her in the eye and lied, telling her they had satellite thermal imaging that showed the movements of everyone in the house that night. He told her this technology proved she was not tied up for the entire duration of the event. It was a bluff, a calculated risk to break her composure, and it worked. Suddenly, Jennifer's story changed. She admitted she wasn't entirely truthful. She confessed she had hired people, but not to harm her parents. She claimed she had arranged for a simulated home invasion to stage her own demise. She said she was deeply unhappy and had hired these men to end her own life, but they had misunderstood and attacked her parents instead. It was a shocking admission, but it still positioned her as a tragic figure, not a cold planner. But this new story didn't hold up either. The evidence was pointing in a much more sinister direction. The key was her father. Against all odds, Hen Pan survived his injuries. After emerging from a medically induced coma, he was able to tell police what really happened that night. His memory was clear. He recalled Jennifer speaking calmly and familiarly with one of the intruders, as if she knew him. He saw her moving freely around the house, not tied up as she had claimed. His testimony was the final devastating blow to Jennifer's story. The daughter who had seemed so grief-stricken was, in fact, the one who had led the attackers to her parents. With Han's testimony, the entire conspiracy unraveled. Investigators discovered that Jennifer had been in constant contact with her boyfriend, Daniel Wong, who helped orchestrate the plot. They had hired 3 men to carry out the act, all for a share of Jennifer's expected inheritance. The motive wasn't a botched robbery or a tragic misunderstanding. It was money. Jennifer believed that with her parents out of the way, she would be free to be with Daniel and inherit the family fortune, finally escaping the immense pressure she had lived under her whole life. The trial revealed the depths of her deception and the chilling nature of the plan. Texts between Jennifer and the hired men laid out the plot in cold, hard detail. The prosecution painted a picture of a young woman who, when faced with the collapse of her fictional life, chose a path of ultimate betrayal rather than face the truth. The defense argued that she was a product of a relentlessly demanding upbringing, a tiger parent environment that pushed her to a desperate breaking point. But for the jury, the evidence was overwhelming. In the end, Jennifer Pan, her boyfriend Daniel Wong, and 2 of their accomplices were found guilty of first-degree murder and attempted murder. They were all sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The 3rd accomplice was also convicted in a separate trial. The case of Jennifer Pan serves as a chilling reminder that the most terrifying stories are sometimes the ones that unfold behind the closed doors of an ordinary suburban home. It shows how secrets and lies, left to fester, can spiral into unimaginable consequences. This case forces us to look at the complexities of family dynamics and the dark places the human mind can go under pressure. Was this an act of pure evil, or the tragic outcome of a lifetime of unbearable expectations? Let us know what you think. Type the word truth in the comments if you believe justice was fully served. And to make sure you never miss another deep dive into the case files, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more investigations that reveal the hidden side of human nature.